Dear students, today we are going to cover the next topic, that is the making of nationalism in Europe. Children, as I told you that the way we are getting the present time the countries in the Europe like Germany, Italy, Switzerland, all those countries which we find in the Europe, they were not having the concept of a nation. As in the mid 18th century, Europe was not having the concept of the nation states. So, if the countries were not there, nation states were not there, then how the whole Europe was politically divided? What we find that the whole of the Europe was divided into number of the kingdoms like duchies, cantons, whose rulers were basically the ruling to the autonomous territories there. Firstly, we find Eastern and the Central Europe. In the Eastern and the Central Europe, it was under the autocratic monarch rulers there, and in this territory the people who were living, they were basically diverse people. The diverse population was there. They were not having the common identity there. They were basically not having the common culture, common traditions there. So in the Eastern and the Central Europe there, we find that the autocratic monarchy rulers were ruling there. At the same time, in the Europe, there was a very big empire, or there was a big dynasty which was ruling. That was Habsburg Empire. Habsburg Empire rulers, they were ruling over a very long stretch of area there, as you can see presently your Austria and Hungary. So Habsburg Empire rulers, they were ruling over the Austria and Hungary. It was a patchwork of the many different regions and the people. It was including your alpine regions, that is your Tyrol, Austria, or the Sudetenland, as well as to your Bohemia, where the aristocracy was predominantly German speaking people. At the same time, also we find it was also comprised of the Italian speaking provinces of the Lombardy or the Venetia. In Hungary, the half of the population that was speaking your Magyar language, whereas half was speaking the different dialects, the different languages were there. In the same way, in Galicia, the aristocracy that was speaking the Polish language. So what we find that in the different parts of the Europe, different dynasties were already ruling. Besides all these three dominant groups there, there also lived within the boundaries of the empire a mass of subjects, peasants, people, Bohemians, Slovaks in the north there, Slavnes in the Cornella courts, or in the south, or the Romans in the eastern part of the Europe there. So different type of people, different dynasties were ruling in the Europe there. People, they were not sharing the common culture, common tradition in the different parts of the Europe. So the entire Europe was classified, or it was already being ruled by the different rulers and the different dynasties. Now the next heading which we have, that is your aristocracy and the new middle class. So as how the idea of nationalism emerged there, for that firstly we should understand what was the society of the Europe. So what is aristocracy? Aristocracy means those people who are having the highest social, they were basically the highest social class, and they were very much privileged people of the society. So aristocracy was very much prevalent over there. That was already present over there. And the aristocratic people, they were socially and politically, they were quite very dominating class of the society, or in the entire continent Europe here. These aristocratic people here, they were having too much of the landed property there, and socially and politically they were very strong people. Along with that, the members of this class, they were united by the common way of their life there, and these people were very few in number. They were speaking the French language there, just to place themselves as the highest bracket of the society. They were using the French language. Along with this also, we find that these aristocratic people, they were very less in number, but they were very closely connected with each other there. They were having their own marriage ties there. these aristocratic people, as they were just they were very much linked with each other there. On the other hand side, we find that the European society, that was also having the majority of the population, which was made up of your peasantry. In the west of the Europe, we find the bulk of the land was formed by the tenants or by the small owners, whereas your eastern and the central Europe, the pattern of landholding was basically having the characteristic of the vast estates which were basically cultivated by the serfs. Serfs means your serfdom, you know that is a slaves were there. So the slaves were there, and in the central Europe, those were the owners, those were the aristocratic people there. They were having a huge land, or the big vast estates they were having, and that was being cultivated by the serfs. So this was the way the aristocratic people were the most privileged people of society, more very influential people of society. And the second group we find here, that is your peasantry there, peasantry which was already working either as a tenant there, or they were having a small land holdings for themselves there, or they were working as a serfs for the big aristocratic people's farms houses there. But at the same time, there was a development of industries in Europe, and the western and the central part of the Europe, there was a growth of industries. And when the industries were set up, so there was a growth of towns, and the new commercial classes or the working classes were immersed there. Now we find that the industrialization, it was began in England in the second half of the 18th century, and in the France and some parts of the German states also, it occurred only during the time of 19th century. During this time, a new social group that also come up into existence. That was the new social group. As the new social group also, we can classify into two. That is the new social group. Firstly, it was a working class, and second, it was the middle class of the businessmen. So as the middle class made up of the industrialists, the businessmen, professionals, and there was your working class there. In the Central and the Eastern Europe, these groups were similar in the number till the late 19th century. They were quite educated. The liberal middle classes, they were having the ideas of a national unity, following the abolition of aristocratic privilege, gained the popularity. So you have already studied that Russian Revolution in class 9th, and how the people, they were against of the aristocracy, how the people, they were against of the capitalist there, they wanted the socialism. So on the same track there, the liberal people were there, who were totally in favor of the idea of a national unity there, and they simply want that there should be the abolition of the aristocratic privileges in the society. So this way we find that the aristocracy people, and the aristocracy was in the beginning, it was having the popularity in the Europe there, and when the industrialization began, after that only the new middle class was developed there. And this new middle class people, slowly and steadily, they got the idea of a national unity as they were educated. So this liberal middle class people, they gained the popularity, and they started working for the abolition of the aristocratic privilege in the society. So this much. Now we will continue that how did the liberal nationalism stand for. That will be covering in the next session. Thank you.